Hello and welcome back to another Design Clips. This is Dawn Woolslegel and today we are going to be doing another card featuring the Autumn Leaves stamp set. I know, I hope you guys aren't tired of it. Can't help it. I told you guys it's one of my favorites and I wasn't lying. I love nature images. I'll be working on our white cardstock standard A2 panel here, and I'm using the Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. So like I mentioned, I'll be using the Autumn Leaves. This time I'll be using the outlined images. And then I'll be pairing it with this little sprig here from our Botanical Bunch stamp set. Again, this is another one of my favorites. I just love nature images. I think they're perfect for all occasions, for male or females. They're just, I don't know, they're perfect. All right, so what I'm going to do is, this is very similar to a video that Yana did for us recently, and I'll link to it here on the screen if you want to check it out. I highly recommend it. She started off by stamping a full panel of these outlined images, and then she used watercolor to add color. So I'm often inspired by other card makers and crafters, and Yana is one that I am frequently inspired by. I love her work. And I thought this would be the perfect starting point for adding color with just about any medium. And if you follow me on Instagram, you saw me post a sneak peek of this either last week or the week before. So I'm going to show you how I achieved that look. Now, one tip for stamping out these backgrounds, I like to start with my largest image first and work my way down to my smallest. I like to try to stamp each image in odd numbers. So my largest one you'll see is stamped there 3 times, my medium is stamped 5 times, and then I'm just going to come in and fill in all of the gaps with my smaller image or my smallest image. All right, now that our background is completely stamped out, we need to create our stencil. This is what we're going to ink through. I'm using the companion dies, and I'm cutting this from some scrap cardstock. Now this is a thicker, heavier weight cardstock. I need to use a heavier weight cardstock because if I use something thin, like a printer paper or a Post-it note, the ink will seep through and ruin my project. So that's why I'm using a thicker, heavier cardstock. You could use acetate if you have that on hand. That would be perfect as well. We're going to use this as our stencil here, and we're going to ink through the open spaces. You'll also want to protect any area that you think you might hit with your ink blending tool. So for there, I'm just covering up that open space with a Post-it note, and that will protect the rest of my project. Now I can just come in with a mini ink blending tool and start sponging in my color. Now I'm using our Pure Color dye inks today, and this is our last leaf. Now you can use one solid color. You can create a gradient, go heavier on one end and lighter on the other. Or you can mix your colors. For this, I'm going to do a little bit of both. For this next leaf, I'm coming in with a little bit of Ocean Drive, and then I'm going to come on top of that with a little bit of our Falling for Blue. This is another one of my favorite color combos. The Ocean Drive and the Falling for Blue look beautiful together. So this one I did all with Ocean Drive, and then on this next one, you see that I'm going to start with Ocean Drive, and then I'm going to finish up with the Falling for Blue. It just adds a little bit of variation in the background and a little bit of interest. And then finally, for that last maple leaf, this is the one I'm going to add the most variation in color of. This is also the image that we've stamped the most number of times. So for that reason, we don't want the yellow to overpower. We don't want red to overpower or orange. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to ink some of them exclusively in our Wild Mango. Some of them I'm going to do all in our Gala Red. And then others I'm going to do a blend of the Wild Mango and the Gala Red. Again, this will just ensure that no color is overwhelming in the background and stands out too much. And I will have all of the products and colors listed in the description box below as well as on our blog, so if you're interested in the exact supplies, be sure to check that. Now we did a lot of inking over that intense black, which softened it quite a bit. We need to add that punch back in. And for that, we're going to use our Pure Color dye ink in black, and we're going to stamp that berry image from Botanical Bunch randomly over the background. Now this is going to serve 2 purposes. It's one, going to break up all of that color and provide a break for the eye, a resting place for the eye. And 2, it's going to add depth by adding those 2 different levels of black. Here you can see how that stark black image immediately starts pushing those leaves and that color into the background, and it gives the illusion of depth or multiple layers. Okay, so we have this bold graphic background, so we're going to need a bold sentiment to really stand out against it. I'm using the Painted Friend die here from Simon Says Stamp, and I have die cut it 3 times, twice from white and once from our black cardstock. And I'm going to layer these on top of each other using a little Elmer's spray adhesive. I'll just put it into a little box lid here, spray the back, and then when I adhere the white one on the black one, I'm going to offset it just a bit so that it creates like a drop shadow. And then I'm going to adhere the other white one to the front. Now this gives me a nice chipboard-like sentiment. I die cut the entire panel using our Love Mom Layers die. That's just going to leave me a nice border of black when I eventually adhere this to my card base. And I've adhered that friend die straight to the front of that panel. Now I'm going to use the negative die cut from where I cut out the word friend as a guide for placing the dot on my eye. Now this is totally optional. You could put that dot, just stick it on the page and it would be fine. All right, it doesn't have to be perfect. However, using the stencil or the leftover negative die cut here helps me to, one, make sure that my word didn't get wonky and it's straight. There's some thinner areas in this die cut so they can bend, which is actually nice if you want to bend the sentiment a little bit. It is definitely malleable and you can, but this just helps me make sure that it's straight, and then also helps me to place that dot on that eye. I don't even know why I bothered with it in this card. Normally, I would not bother with the perfect placement of that, but I don't know, for some reason I did, so who knows, maybe I was having a moment. So to finish off the sentiment, I'm using Thank You for All You Do from our Love Mom stamp set. So this is just a great all-occasion thank you card for your friend. Stamping that in our pure color die ink and black on white cardstock, and then I'll trim that down and attach it to the front of the card using a little foam tape. I adhered the entire panel to an A2 top folding card base in black, and that will finish off the card. Now, as is becoming kind of my norm lately, I did make a second version, but this time I stamped the outline images in our pure color die ink in black. When I noticed that the intense black softened under the ink blending and became a lighter black, I wanted to see if our pure color die ink would do the same thing. So on the card on the right, I did stamp it. I stamped all of the black in our pure color die ink in black, and it did not soften underneath the ink blending. So that's just something to bear in mind. It's a preference look. I actually like the way that the intense black did soften under the ink blending, because it added a different level of black. And the image on the left, the card on the left, I like the separation between the colorful background leaves and then that stark black of that berry image. I just think that they compete less. So I added some clear Wink of Stella to the card on the right to separate that berry image just a little bit. So now it has this nice little shimmer to it, and it doesn't compete quite as much, but again, I still think I prefer the one on the left. And to finish that off, I just added a few enamel dots in our Falling for Blue. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget, if you did, to give it a thumbs up. And you can find all of the featured supplies at wplus9.com, as well as at many of your favorite retailers. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.